Welcome to Blinkers Off with your hosts, Jared Welch and Aaron Halterman.
What is up, everybody? I'm Jared Welch. He is Aaron Halterman. It is, Thursday, July 31st, and this is Blinkers Off. What is up? We are like August tomorrow, and that Whitney starts in August, and we're officially in Travers month.
Dude, it's awesome. This Whitney day feels like a Triple Crown day with how good the card is. Just all kinds of different types of races, like you kind of mentioned yesterday when we were texting back and forth. So, yeah, I have thoroughly enjoyed racing from that July 4th weekend on to this moment as we sit here. And the big reason is why that little track up north. So, yeah, I'm super excited for the weekend.
Shoddy, appreciate it. The website, yeah. If you haven't been to the website, hopefully you have been. RacingDudes.com. We've launched just kind of I wouldn't say subtle. It's quite a big change, but no, I mean all the information is the same. It's just better. What we've kind of learned over the years is, while we still do articles and do a podcast, obviously, and all those things, like people come to the site for one thing and one thing only, and that's for picks. And we've basically just made that easier for everybody to access those tracks and the picks that they want. And so, if you haven't yet, go check out the website and give us some feedback if you like it or not. But yeah, we've been working on that for the last month or so, but it is officially launched. But yeah, dude, it feels like August. It's felt like August for a while now. It's hotter than hell. I think it's hotter than hell everywhere. Finally, today it was like in the 70s in the morning, and you're like, holy shit. It wasn't like knocking in your face as soon as you walk out the door, humid. Like, this is amazing. Like, where's this been? But I'm sure it'll go back to being hot. Speaking of hot, and talk about the Travers, let's go right into it because there's two huge horses that ran last weekend, and it will headline with Sovereignty, man. I mean, you've had a week almost to kind of digest that and go through it. And obviously I wouldn't say we're close to the Breeders' Cup, but it's going to be here before you know it. What do you think of Sovereignty?
I thought he was awesome. I mean, I don't think I could have been more impressed. And I know a lot of people look at it and go, well, he just won by a length. Who cares? It's like he was just toying with that field. He really wasn't, I don't think he got out of first gear, let alone second or third. And look, I mean, it was the prep race to the big one, right? And I mean, you got to remember, ever since the day of the Kentucky Derby, even Bill Mott has been talking about the Travers. We know it. We've seen it. Remember the Florida Derby, which was the prep for the big one back in the spring. He didn't win the race. And so I think a lot of people thought, well, maybe he's vulnerable. I thought he was just fantastic in that race. He broke on top, which shows me just how far he's come. He sat a beautiful trip. I think people were a little worried when he was starting to get past, but all the horses moved and Junior didn't have to move yet. And then he asked him, and that was it. So I thought it was spectacular.
He is. I mean, listen, he just continued. Not that you and I both from the day of the Derby were like, all right, we're on. We're on board because we were on board. And then after that Florida Derby, you're like, I don't know. Since then, he's only continued to grow as far as for me, as far as how I view him. He's such his talent level is obviously superior, but he's just you mentioned it last week. It's just he's turned into, like, you'd almost like, is this a different horse than he was previously, before the Derby, really, because he has just turned into he's incredibly smart. He's obviously just look at him. He's an absolute monster. But the way he's been running in these races, like you said, one, he's been more forwardly placed. And two, a lot of the, horses kind of started to go by him. And you're like, uh-oh, here we go. Like he just sits and does this thing. It's just, he's a horse amongst, he's in his own race, every time. He doesn't worry about who else is doing, who else is in the race. Poor Bieza, poor journalism, because those are two very, very good horses who like I said last week, it just turned out to be born in the wrong time.
Absolutely. I mean, even after the Derby, and don't get me wrong, his Derby was very, very impressive. But even at the Derby, my kind of thought on him was, well, he's still a horse. He doesn't fall like to Sierra Leone levels as far as to the back, but he's pretty far back in all these races. And
Yeah.
that's still going to be a worry. It just is. It always is on the dirt. If you get that far back, it's tough, right? And, he came out on the Belmont and he set that beautiful stalking trip. And I thought, oh, that's different. Let's see. Maybe he won't have that same run. He had maybe even a better run, right? When it came to the top of the stretch. So my curiosity to the race last Saturday was, can he do that again? Is that the new him where he's going to sit closer? And if he does, I don't think he's going to lose again. And like I said, right out of the gate, his nose was in front for a minute. I think he could have taken him gate to wire if Junior really wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But, he sat him off, and that's the trip that you want. He got a perfect trip. So if he can continue to do that kind of thing, I don't really think anybody's going to beat him. Obviously Breeders' Cup Classic, that's going to be, we'll see when we get there. I may have a different opinion because there's a lot to kind of unpack still there. But the Travers, people are like, I think Magnitude might take him gate to wire. It's like, well, he's probably going to be like 2 links off of him. So I don't think so. Maybe if he was a dead closer, you would start to think that, but he's so tactical now. And those are the kind of horses that if they have elite ability and they can sit those kind of trips, they're almost impossible to beat.
Yeah. The thing is, like, you can't, like you said, like you kind of had hope to beat him. Like, oh, well, if the pace isn't there, kind of, similar to like we talked about with Sierra Leone, but then you're like, oh shit, like that's not the case at all anymore. And the problem for any of these other horses is once he gets you in his sights there as they turn for home, it's over. You're like, we haven't seen a horse that's been able to get out in front of him. It's like, that's what we said about Bieza. It's like, hey, your one shot here would be this race, and just to try to be as far in front of him as you can. And it just didn't work. And it just, in fact, Bieza was, he was so close to Bieza early on in the race. We're like, uh-oh, this is not even the same, this is not what you were hoping to see as far as if you were trying to beat him. The thing that's so insane about this year, I guess is the best way, is like, imagine like if Bieza was pointing, which he might be still, but Bieza is pointing to the Travers and no sovereignty in the race, no journalism. That's it. Like, I'm not saying journalism is going to run, but that's it. Bieza would be your pick. I mean, he'd be my pick probably. Yeah. If it was journalism and no Bieza or sovereignty, journalism would be your pick.
Yeah.
And sovereignty beats the crap out of both. I mean, you're talking about 2 horses that you would probably no question pick to win the Travers. And sovereignty just beats the shit out of these horses when he faces them. It's pretty incredible.
You look at Bieza. I mean, it was a great race. He ran great.
He did. He really did.
He did everything right. He wasn't headstrong. They put him in a really good spot. He still finished with a lot of run. Those 2 horses murdered the other 3, right? They weren't even on the screen. And he still lost. And he still lost in a situation where it was close from a margin standpoint, but never really at any point did you think Bieza was actually going to win that race. And so that's just like, he's kind of toyed with him a little bit. And what's he going to do with another 1/8 of a mile? He's going to do the same thing he did in the Belmont. And what's he going to do when he's kind of fully cranked back up? He's going to do what he did in the Belmont. And look, you mentioned it's like, we talked about it for a long time. It's like, how do you beat him if you're Bieza? You got to get in front of him. You have to. How can you get in front of him when he's just as fast as you early and not having to work to do it? You can't. So that's what you can't beat a horse like that very often unless you are just flat out better than him. And there's just not a lot of horses out there that have the talent that he has. So it's the perfect trip. Because when you think about it, if you get too far behind, that's obviously a problem. If you're just a dead speed horse, that works unless there's a lot of other speed, and then you're in big trouble.
Yeah.
This horse will just do whatever at this point. That's the development that he's gotten. And that's when they become very hard to beat. Now, you think about American Pharaoh, he could go to the front and set the pace if nobody was there. But if they went fast, he just backed right off of it. That kind of versatility combined with this kind of talent That's what makes a truly special horse that's just really, really difficult to beat. In fact, when we were a little bit younger in the game, I asked our buddy Kelly Von Hemel, I said, how the hell do you beat those type of horses? He goes, he just laughed. He goes, you don't. Like, what could you do to them,
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're at.
Well, the only way you beat them is if they don't run, meaning like something happens, they just don't run their race. And that's kind of where we're at, I think, with Sovereignty. The only thing that's going to beat him is a new shooter, I guess, because we've established that he can handle these. And Magnitude would be a new shooter in the Travers. That's kind of a, I guess, question as far as handling him. But and then further, let's move on a little bit to further what the new shooter. We'll talk about fierceness, obviously, in detail here coming up in the Whitney being a Breeders' Cup win, and you're in. For the Classic, and then last week, later in the day after the Jim Dandy, we saw Nisos, and Nisos out west appears to be the horse that Bob Baffert thought and hoped he would be, what seems like forever ago, and he's really rounded into form. He's showed that 2 turns is going to mile 16th, not a concern whatsoever. What did you think of Nisos, and do you think that he is kind of honing in on like a legit threat to Sovereignty?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm going to tell you why. He can do the same exact thing that Sovereignty did. And that was the thing that I was so impressed with. He was able to sit, he relaxed, and when Flavian asked him to go, he just gobbled him up. Now here's a difference. He was facing much, much weaker horses at a shorter distance. So you can't compare the two, right? Yeah. I mean, Baeza would have won that race, or would have, say Nisos wasn't there, but Baeza was there in the San Diego. Baeza would have won the race, right? So he's a better horse, is what I'm getting at, than anybody that Nisos beat. But the way he did it was brilliant. We said it last week. We think he's going to stretch out just fine. The breeding says he should even get better. We'll see. That remains to be seen. But 2 things, the breeding being number 1, in the way he runs his races. He's not headstrong. He can relax. He galloped out really great. All the signs are there. He's going to get 1.25 miles, and that'll make him a big-time candidate. Now, the big question marks for him, injuries, will they come up and be a problem again? And then, still it's out there until you do it at 1.25 miles. There's always question marks, but all the signs are there. So I think the way he sat off the pace like that, it shows me it's like, yeah, I mean, that is a really legit horse. And again, he's going to have to face a lot better competition before you get like over the moon about him. Let's think about this. This horse has 1 loss. It was off a 15-month layoff, going 7 furlongs in the slop in probably the best overall field we've seen all year.
Yeah.
And he lost by a neck. He damn near won the race. So he's an elite horse. If he can stay healthy, I definitely think he's going to be a factor.
To a horse that, spoiler alert, if he was not going to run, or if he were to run, that'd be in mind for him. I'd probably pick to win the Whitney. And so, it was an insanely good in that race. Like that Churchill Downs race, just coming back and keeps coming back, delivering as being a high quality race. I posted or I kind of commented after the race on Twitter, like, hey, like there might be one horse that can beat Sovereignty at this point, and it seems like it could be Nisos, and got some heat for it. But my point is, it's like it's not what we've seen on the track from Nisos, because you're right, there are a lot of question marks. Can he stretch out longer? Can he face tougher talent? All the list goes on, because we've talked about him in the past, where it's like for a horse that feels like it's been around forever, we still are figuring him out, right? But it just feels like when you watch him, like all he does is continue to answer the questions. Each time he races, you learn a little bit more about him, and it just feels like there's certain horses like Gosker, let's just say, because I saw it in the thing. He's like, I kind of know what he is, right? I don't really threatened by Gosker at this point in the game. Nisos, a horse like Nisos, is like, yeah, like the top end of him is still very much unknown, and that's what I like about him. And by the way, he's trained by Bob Baffert, who's won the Classic a zillion times, and it's out west at his home track. There's a lot of factors going into it. Oh, by the way, he might peak him right at the right time for that day. And so, yeah, I think there are a lot of factors that make Nisos very appealing for the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, I want to circle back to Gosker because I was going to make a comment on that too. We had a question, do you think Baeza would beat Gosker, easily? I have a growing amount of respect for Gosker, and I did underestimate him a bit. I liked him a little, but I underestimated him a bit in the Haskell. I thought he'd be more of a third or fourth place type. I didn't really think he would threaten to win. I still think he's a cut below Baeza journalism and sovereignty. I just do. Maybe not as much Baeza. Maybe that's one because again, he only has one victory, right? So, maybe Gosker would give him a battle. It's just Gosker, I think, is another horse that was born in the wrong year. You just don't have that depth year in and year out at the top like we have this year. Gosker was fantastic. I mean, that race that Gosker ran will win the Haskell a lot of years, right? Just not this one. So, but yeah, no, I definitely agree with what you're saying on Nisos for sure. And it will be very, very interesting that next race to see how he stretches out and B, who shows up, right? Because is it going to be Nisos first journalism? Will Baeza be there? Or will they go to the Travers? What will they do? Really fascinating. Was Nisos impressive enough where they kind of dodge it? That's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, poor journalism. It's just a horse that I say poor, like he's an awesome horse, but it's like you go out west and you stay home out west, and you're now looking at Nisos probably if you do want to go the Pacific Classic route. If you said, hey, we're going to go to the Travers, well, guess what? You get to your old pal Sovereignty in that one.
Yeah.
It's not to say like we still like again, like if Sovereignty is better than you at this point, like Nisos at least there's the question mark. So I still think that's where you would go. Which would be very interesting and very fun for us as handicappers / fans, because one, to get that early preview, and two, to kind of see, right, because we know journalism can't handle Sovereignty. So if journalism goes and beats Nisos, then you're like, oh, shit. Like, how good is Sovereignty at that point? And vice versa, if Nisos were to handle him, you'd be like, okay, well, now it feels like it's Nisos versus Sovereignty and, get my popcorn ready for the Classic.
Yeah, I mean, that would just be super interesting if he does go to take on Nisos in the Pacific Classic. I wish Baeza, if journalism doesn't do it, I hope Baeza does, because again, like we're saying, yeah, he's a little bit below Sovereignty in journalism, but maybe he could beat Nisos, and then what would that say? So I hope one of those 3-year-old California horses are in that race with Nisos, because I don't really know who else might be there if it's not one of them. So yeah, I mean, I would still probably go the Pacific Classic, like you said, if you're journalism, because there are some question marks with Nisos where you kind of know what you're getting. You face Sovereignty twice, going a mile and a quarter, hadn't turned out good.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to go try that again or not.
Yeah. I think, honestly, I don't know, but I assume, hey, you know what? We've done our, props going out west or going out east for the Haskell, and obviously went out several times for the whole Triple Crown there. And you know what? Keep him home. And, whether he gets to face Nisos or not, whatever, but get him, make the Classic be the race that you want for journalism and see what happens there. And, I think that's the route they should go. You also have the Pennsylvania Derby looming. I mean, that's a thought if like they were to, bypass the Pacific Classic altogether and just train him to the Pacific or the Pennsylvania Derby straight into the Classic. That's a route where maybe you could avoid, the two big dogs as we think right now.
Don't you think Baeza fits pretty good for him?
You would, yeah, because I mean, he's like you said, he's running all these big races already. It's been proven the Sheriffs was not afraid to ship him. I think that race would be perfect for him.
Yeah,
or him or journalism because we know Sovereignty is not going to mess with the race. So yeah, if either one of those two, like it worked so well for the Haskell, hey, no one else is in the race. Journalism go take that one. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So that feels like the race. It's a great one. It is a big time race. It would do a lot for a horse, stallion wise as well, like winning the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby. Like, yeah, I think that'd be a great option. But I don't know. Have you heard, I haven't heard any confirmation from Sheriffs, like if, they want to keep banging heads with Sovereignty.
They didn't mention a race or anything. He just kind of mentioned how proud he was of him, which he should be. I thought he ran the best race of his career and got beat. No, I don't know where they're thinking. They haven't really made it clear. Really, journalism has either. Really, the only horse out of the big three we definitely know is Travers for Sovereignty, and then it's just kind of a mystery. So the article I read mentioned the shared belief could be an option for Baeza. And I think your first thing is like, really don't do that, because it's, that's an ungraded, easier race at Del Mar. The one thing I'll say, for Baeza, if they choose the shared belief, I would understand, because this horse only has one win, right? Like, go get him a win. I get that, right?
Yeah.
If you want to try to build his confidence back up, I don't think that'd be the worst idea.
Yeah, to kind of, now it's like, okay, let's look at the classic and let's prepare backwards from that. But here's the reality too, is whenever Sovereignty decides to, I don't know, Sovereignty seems like it would be a great horse as a 4 and 5 year old, but if he goes and wins wins the Travers, then wins the classic, like, it'd be hard pressed to keep him running. And so you could maybe think that he might be retired. And then the point is like, if it is journalism or Baeza, like those two could, they would really benefit from Sovereignty not being in the picture as 4-year-olds. So, you got to think of the big picture as well. And it's not just, going to win the classic. In reality, if you're Baeza and Baeza can, you might be like, all right, hopefully, we get there. We have a good horse for the race. But, like, let's be honest, if Sovereignty's in the race, if journalism's in the race, it may not be our year to win the classic, which is crazy. But we'll see, and obviously we'll see what those go to do after the race. But let's get into it, because we do have a lot to talk about as it relates to the classic, and that is the $1 million Whitney Stakes this weekend at Saratoga. It's one of the biggest Breeders' Cup Classic qualifiers of the year, and then we're going to look at the massive weekend slate featuring three total win in your ends at Saratoga and Del Mar. We'll also take a look at a little bonus race on Friday, the Hall of Fame at Saratoga. Huge weekend. Let's go. Yeah, I wasn't going to do that one. And then I was like, yeah, your favorite horse, Zulu Kingdom's in the race. I got to include the race. So,
yeah, for sure.
And now we finally get to see, like, I know it's still great too, but it's like, is this horse actually, how good is this horse? This feels like he should win again.
Should. I don't think he ran all that well in his last race. He won, but I don't think he was like great. So we'll see.
It wasn't overly impressive. I agree. All right, on Saturday, let's head to Saratoga. Race 11, the Whitney Stakes, Grade 1, $1 million, mile and 8 for those 4-year-olds and up. And it is a Breeders' Cup win in your end event for the Breeders' Cup Classic. Field of 10, at least for now. It has been stated many times from Todd Pletcher that he entered both Mindframe and Fierceness into the race with the plan to only run one, and that is the 9 Fierceness. The reasoning being that if for whatever reason Fierceness didn't make the race or something happened, they still had Mindframe in the race and could run in this kind of race for him. So plan is not both will run. We're only going to get Fierceness. So the way I approach this race was handicapping it without Mindframe. Now, if he were to run, that would mean Fierceness didn't, and Mindframe would become a very large win candidate for me. But let's just approach this race, Halterman, without Mindframes being entered. And it starts with Fierceness. Do you think Fierceness will rebound, out of that Met Mile? I wouldn't say terrible effort, but he's certainly disappointed being the favorite that day. But he stretches back out. And then you've got Sierra Leone, who beat him in the Classic, and seems like he might be starting to round back into form. So what'd you think of this one, man?
Yeah, this is a great race. There's no doubt about it. A worthy running of the Whitney for sure. Just a really, really strong field this year. I'll start out by saying if Mindframe does run, that means Fierceness is out, and I kind of like Mindframe to win that thing, but I'm with you. I think he's going to go out. And so I really like Fierceness to win this thing. I actually disagree with Dennis. Dennis said this was the hardest race he's handicapped since doing picks. I think it's a very good race. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's that hard. I really think it's one of 3 horses And I think very likely it's Fierceness. And if it's not, it's Sierra Leone or White Barrio. To me, I have a lot of respect for Skippy Longsocking, Highland Falls, Post Time, Disarm. Like, I do respect those horses. Point to a race they've had ever that's going to beat Fierceness, Sierra Leone, or White Barrio if they're at their best. Point to a race where they're within 4 lengths of those 3 horses' absolute best race. That's where it's like, nah, I don't think it's that hard. Now, if you're trying to debate between Fierceness, Sierra Leone, and White Barrio, that's it gets tricky because the pace does seem like it's going to be fairly hot. So I do think Sierra Leone has a chance, but I really believe Fierceness is going to get the job done. I love the outside draw. I think he bounces back. I really like Fierceness to win.
My thoughts were fairly simple with this race. I'm with you a little bit. I was more disappointed than you were, I think, about Fierceness' effort in the Met Mile. But having said that, I look, the trainer's telling us. I mean, because he's got, like, it's not like Mind Frame is the. I mean, these Mind Frame. We talked about Nisos. Mind Frame beat Nisos, right? Mind Frame has looked awesome in this 2 starts this year. He looks like I said, if he were to enter here without Fierceness, even with Fierceness, I would be like, man, I think I'm going to pick Mind Frame to win. I like Mind Frame a ton. So the fact that I think he would win this race if he was entered, and the trainer, and by the way, same ownership as well, is being like, no, we're going to run Fierceness over Mind Frame. That's kind of saying we think Fierceness is going to win. Like, I'm not going to like really get super creative and overthink it. To me, Fierceness is the horse to beat in this race. And I think the price will be fair on him, considering Sierra Leone is going to take some money. White Barrio will take some money. And I say fair, meaning I think 8-5 is that probably where you'll get. But man, I wanted to like go Sierra Leone. I think the race sets up nice for him. I like the way I thought that last race, speaking of Mind Frame, I thought he ran a nice second and really showed like, okay, maybe he is the right horse and maybe he can't. I mean, listen, I think he is still Sierra Leone of the class. I think he can get to that classic as of last year. He obviously got the best of Fierceness that day. But I think Fierceness, he loves Saratoga. Sierra Leone, on the other hand, not so much, at least on paper, hasn't. I think Fierceness gets the job done here. And he sits outside, which I think is a huge – I think he's going to sit the perfect trip. He doesn't need to be on the lead. He can sit the right trip where he can kind of come from off of it. I like Fierceness a lot here.
I do too. Now, I do think – let's wheel back to Sierra Leone because you mentioned him a lot there. I think he's in great form. They finally entered a rabbit for him, and people were like, oh, yeah, that's really smart. It's like, it's actually like 11 races too late. I'm not going to give him credit at all for doing it because what are you doing? You've known for a long time he needs pace. You finally did it. Good on you. Okay. I think he's going to get a fair shot this time to do it. The problem that I have with Sierra Leone, I'd like him a lot better if it was 1.25 miles. I just think 1.125 miles, he still might be a little short. But if they come back to him, he's going to be awfully tough because I do think he's ready to run a huge race. I think it's the 5 or the 9, Sierra Leone or Fierceness. And then I think the 2 wild cards is number 7, White Barrio. I call him a wild card because you just never know. If for some reason he does show up with his absolute A race, he can win for sure. The only other one outside of those 3 that wouldn't shock me is Highland Falls. He's the one, like, we saw him win a grade 1 here, but it was a pretty weak grade 1. The Jockey Club Gold Cup, most of the good horses weren't in it. We know Arthur's ride's a piece of shit now after what he's done. So that wasn't that big of a win over him when you think about it. And he's a total loser. So when you look at it like
not
that,
over it yet. I'm not either.
Well, I mean, he is. It
was awful.
When you look at it like that, I don't know what that was, but I can tell you this: Highland Falls came back off of a layoff, ran very well in a weak race, but he seems to be kind of set up to run pretty well. So He's the one I like at a little bit of a price. I just don't think he's good enough to beat those top three that I mentioned. And really, I mean, look, we can tear apart Fierceness for what happened. It was a mile race out of the chute, sloppy surface, a really nice horse going 1 mile, got ahead of him. It's hard to pass at Saratoga in the slop. It just is, even if you're Fierceness. I just don't think that set up great for him. And I think the hardest part for people is he was right there and it looked like he was going to romp. And I know that. I know. And it is, I'm not saying it wasn't disappointing, because it was, but I also kind of get it. And the big kicker is it feels like, and you mentioned it, and this is the number one sign, kind of feels like Todd Pletcher feels that way too, because he wants to win this race, obviously, right? And if he wasn't very confident in Fierceness, he'd just run them both, and or he would just run Mind Frame and save Fierceness for something different. To me, entering Fierceness means he thinks this is this top horse, and I think the top level Fierceness going 1.1 miles is just a little bit better than the rest of this field.
Yeah, I think he's going to a little bit longer now than he has all year. That's a good sign too. I think he's been a horse that 1.1 miles, even 1.25 miles, he's ran well. He didn't obviously do it in the Derby, but he definitely did in the Classic. Listen, I'd be completely shocked if Fierceness runs and doesn't run well. Now, Sierra Leone, I get, if he ran a huge race, obviously we know he's beat him before. That's possible. But I have confidence betting Fierceness here that he's going to run well. I think the other thing too that's kind of cooled off on for me is that Raging Torrent. I mean, although thankfully he's okay, but he's retired now due to the injury. But like he may have been at that time like one of the top dirt milers in the country, and so like he was very tough to beat that day on a track that maybe have been a little quirky with that day. It was kind of in that middle grounds of that at that time that day, if you remember. So, listen, I do think it would have been not like if Mindframe let's just say Mindframe was going to run, then maybe Sierra Leone becomes a little more interesting to me, because maybe Mindframe Fierceness get a lot of play. Sierra Leone becomes a little bit of a value play, so to speak. Now the value play seems like it could fall on White Barrio. And I'm using him. If he wins, I won't be shocked, because his best race can win this race. We've seen it, right? Problem is, you just don't know what you're going to get with him. That's why you called him a wild card. I completely agree. I think if both him, Sierra Leone, and Fierceness all fire, then we're going to have a hell of a race. But I just think Fierceness is a touch better, particularly at this distance. So it's where I went with Fierceness. Do you think that if you would have, and I'm with you on Highland Falls, I think he's interesting. I will say I do fear about the pace situation here. Looks on paper like it's going to be kind of insane, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it looks like there's several horses in here, whether cheap speed or real elastic speed, and really Skippy, he does everything. Like he goes to the lead sometimes, he's off the lead sometimes. I think we can both agree he's proven not to be a grade 1 type horse, but he's certainly classy, and you got to assume that he'll have some pace presence in the race. Highland Falls seems to be, definitely going to have some pace presence. We got a couple rabbits in here, maybe even. So the pace situation is going to be very, very interesting.
It's why I keep circling back and saying, boy, I don't want Sierra Leone to beat me here, because this is the first race in a while when you look and go, okay, well, obviously we're going to get some pace. We don't, and again, a lot of it is cheap, right? And so when you get in those situations, now sometimes that cheap speed does work out and you get the pace. Sometimes they just kind of go out and do their own thing and everybody just kind of lays off of them, and then they die at the top of the stretch and everybody runs their normal race. That has me thinking that could happen, because like I said, it is a lot of cheaper speed. But yeah, I mean, I think he's got a legit chance from a pace standpoint going into this thing. What does that mean? We're going to find out, but it can't hurt him. I know that it cannot hurt him.
No.
So we'll see what happens. Now, one thing I will say, Fierceness has shown the ability at times to kind of sit off of it a little bit. So now he did sit too close to a hot pace, and that got him beat at the Breeders' Cup Classic. There's no question.
Yeah.
But, the Ali Sheba, he was a couple links off. The Travers, he was a couple links off. That's where he needs to be here, right? Get him a couple off the pace, and I think he'll be okay, even if they are going, a decent clip.
I just have this. I'll be, like I said, a vision like they're turning for home or they're in the turn, and Velasquez is going to be sitting chilly on him. He's going to be cruising up, and we're going to look at each other and be like, hey, here we go. Here's his run. And I think it's just going to be a matter of, can he hold off a Sierra Leone? Can he get to, if Highland Falls, if you like him, can he hold off White Barrio if he decides to run? So I think that's the factor. But like I said, I don't have any doubt in my mind that you're going to have that. Here we go with Fierceness, and it's just going to be a matter of, can he get the job done? I think he can, but let's go a little more creative here. Let's say we just put some scenarios out there, although unlikely. Fierceness has a fierceness I think he's past those weird fierceness days, but let's just say he does. White Barrio decides not to do it, and Highland Falls is pace and then kind of starts to fold. Who you like? This thing gets weird. Who's a horse that you think could step up at a huge price? Or is it like that just seems totally borderline impossible?
A horse like Post Time and a horse like Skippy Longstocking, they've been in the realm of winning these races, but they just have a lot of over and over and over. They haven't been able to do it at the higher levels. So I think Post Time would be my answer still, though. Because I do think we're going to know he's going to come off the pace, make one run, and we'll see what happens, right? So I think Post Time's my answer at 12-1. He makes a little bit of sense, but again, he's going to need help. We're going to need the pace to be pretty hot. We're probably going to need Sierra Leone not to fire, because if they're firing together there, Sierra Leone's going to beat him to the wire most likely. So you're going to need some help. But I do think Post Time's that longer price that I definitely want to play him third, fourth maybe. But I don't think he can win. But again, he's been around. He's had a chance.
Yeah, I like Post Time quite a bit here if some of the big dogs don't fire, and then I even go Post Time. You can do worse for sure. If you want to make this thing creative, underneath, Post Time picking up a piece, say you just don't think White Barrio is going to fire and Sierra Leone is not going to be, still not quite there yet or whatever. I don't think playing Post Time is a terrible thought, because one thing he's got is he's not going to be, he's drawn outside. He's not going to be part of the pace early. And, sometimes those kind of horses just start to kind of run, they'll pick off horses as they go. And he's been proven that he can run well at Saratoga and at this distance. So listen, I think you're kind of dreaming a scenario here. He couldn't even beat Arthur's Ride and Crouppy last year in the Whitney, but he also ran third. So it's not like that was an embarrassing effort. He finished second in the Met Mile that year. He's serviceable. Just don't think he's at that level. But
yeah.
All right. Again, guys, our exact bets. I got pretty creative in this one. I think you need to, if you like Fierceness. Our exact bets from Halsman and I are in the Whitney Stakes Betting Bible, which is available right now over at the website at racingdudes.com. So if you want the exact picks for this race, or exact betting strategy, I guess I should say, make sure you go download that over at the website at racingdudes.com. And by the way, I don't know who said it. I saw the comment. John Velasquez has rode Fierceness for 9 straight times. So Irad didn't choose anybody over. Irad did ride Fierceness, I think, the first time or two, maybe. But JV is certainly the rider for Fierceness. So there's nothing to overthink there.
Guys.
All right, Halterman, give me your final picks here.
He chose White Barrio over Mindframe because Mindframe isn't running. So there's nothing that Fierceness has been rode by Johnny Velasquez. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 straight times. So again, That's not a thing. So yeah,
and by the way, that's telling as well. Like you said, there's a reason why Gomez is listed on Mindframe because he's not running.
Exactly. If by the way, if Mindframe does run, if you think Gomez will be the rider, you are on drugs. It will not be Gomez. It'll be Johnny Velasquez because the 9 will have scratched.
Correct.
So there you go.
Correct. The only way Mindframe gets in this race is if he goes into the stall of fierceness and does something to his leg or something, so he can get in the race. Otherwise, oh, by the way, I'm just curious too. So Mindframe's out. Where are we going to see Mindframe?
That's a great question. Maybe do they wait till the Jockey Club Gold Cup? Do they ship out to the Pacific Classic? I don't know. I would think they'd say it's Saratoga and run in the Jockey Club. That'd be my guess. I mean that's really the next option. There's no other option for
if you're staying out there, it is like where else?
Well, anywhere. Yeah, there's no place for him to go.
And he ran in May. That was off, since March, and then he ran in June. So, I mean, that would be quite a break. Seemed like he was kind of getting them back into gear, but maybe since he is a horse that has had some issues, maybe he's trying to be light with him and get him to the Breeders' Cup Classic in one piece. You also could wonder maybe this horse ends up running in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile or something like that. If fierceness becomes, if he, maybe they separate them completely. So I think Mindframe is a tricky horse to kind of figure out, just because you do have the other horse in there in the barn being fierceness.
I mean, it's a weird situation that I probably pick Mindframe in this race.
Totally. I know.
So it's like, boy, and again, not to just repeat ourselves, but if I'm looking at this race and I'm going, hell, I think Mindframe is the pick. And then the trainer is saying, well, fierceness is our top option here.
Yeah.
That's really all you need to really confirm what you're seeing on paper too. So anyway, number 9, fierceness for me.
To me, it's like, to kind of put it for someone that maybe, is into sports or whatever, not as much in, like, it'd be like saying, like, all right, we've got these 2 QBs, right? And they're both, paper, or at least seem like they're pretty evenly matched or whatever, but we need to win this game to get in the playoffs. And QBA is in. Well, it kind of tells you what the coach thinks of the two, and so to me, it's like, you don't overthink it. If Fierce is in the race, they think that's their best chance to win. And if that's their best chance to win, then I'm going number 9, fierceness as well. So give me the 9. I think he wins here and punches his ticket into the Breeders' Cup Classic. Yeah, it's rough times for you guys. I've heard. I'm sure you have, Manlo. The reports that like neither quarterback can even like complete a pass. And it's how can you imagine those are your 2 options at quarterback?
So the NFL quarterbacks, it's just a fascinating thing. I'm not gonna. We're in the middle of the show. I'm not take too much time on this, but like anybody that watched Anthony Richardson knew this was going to happen. Anybody. There was not one college football fan that said that was a great pick. He was terrible. And Daniel Jones continues to get jobs. How? Another one, not one person in college watched him and thought, that's a can't miss guy. And then you've got all this tape on him in the pros, and yet he still may start for somebody. It's like, what are you doing? I don't know. It's quarterbacking in the NFL. It's so weird which ones they latch on to and think's going to be the next great player. And it's just like, why? Where is any evidence that's going to happen? It's just wild to me.
Yeah, it's there's some teams that have insane good quarterbacks and no questions. There's other teams that you're like, how are you even in the NFL? And there's a lot. There's quite a list of teams. It feels like this year. We'll get into that as the season gets a little closer. That you don't even know who's starting, really.
Yeah.
Which is not like a great sign when it's August and you have the playoff game or the preseason games are starting. I think they're starting this week, right?
Yeah, they're starting tonight.
Yeah,
one going on. Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, not great when you're still trying to figure it out. Oh, by the way, another quarterback that you and I think are vice president and president of the hating club is Spencer Rattler. That guy is somehow in contention to be the starting quarterback for the Saints.
That one's crazy. Like, that is just like, what? Really? Like, you're actually going to do that? Okay. Another one that is just, at this point, it's just insanity. Russell Wilson. What?
Yeah.
How many years do we have to see this? Like, he's starting somewhere still? How? I don't know. It's just crazy.
Well, didn't the Giants... he went to the Giants, right?
Yeah, he sure did.
Didn't they hire, or didn't they draft Jackson Dart?
They did.
I heard he can't complete a pass at training camp. The reports I've seen, he's been terrible. So maybe that's why Russell Wilson is the QB.
That doesn't seem like a good thing, that you can't complete a pass in training camp at all. That doesn't seem good. I'm not going to lie. It doesn't.
Kevin's not happy.
I'll tell you this. I would way, way, way rather have Jackson Dart out there than Russell Wilson. How many? I mean, I don't even like. How can you think? How could you pick that guy up? It's crazy to me. We had 2 years. He was horrific in Denver.
Insanely bad.
And then by the time he got healthy and they became, for some reason, they didn't really have a quarterback in Pittsburgh, but he replaced Josh Fields. The Steelers were awful with Russell Wilson. Awful.
What's insane to me is you have, I mean, again, this will be it. Like, you have totally, maybe the best one of the best wide receivers, certainly in the NFL, and Neighbors, certainly an up and coming just superstar. And your answer is Jackson Dart and Russell Wilson. That's pretty sad, really. But it just feels like a lot of these teams they focus just the depth and like we give this one superstar and then you don't have any quarterback to throw to him, and it's like, how about you start there's so many quarterbacks out there that just you would think they're already in the NFL that would be serviceable it's like, hey, just a guy that's solid, maybe not totally world class, but hey, well, at least we can move the ball downfield. With a guy like Russell Wilson, okay, good luck.
I mean, and not to mention all the reports of how weird he is and how nobody likes him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just
no one goes to his birthday parties. It's weird. Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird.
All right, guys. Let's get time for rapid fire. We're going to kick things off. By the way, it's presented by the Whitney Stakes betting Bible that is available over at racingdudes.com. Like I mentioned, the whole entire card at Saratoga on Saturday is included in the betting Bible. You get my top 4 picks, Halterman's top 4 picks, everybody at racingdudes.com, including John White's AI top 4 picks. You have the exact betting analysis. So, not just, hey, who we think's going to win. It's also like, hey, I'm playing a double here. I'm playing an exacta. Here's how the exacta. Here's the structure, betting amounts, pace analysis. Everything's included. Anything you want and can help you, whether you're a beginner all the way to a level, level pro. You can get that Whitney betting Bible. It is available over at racingdudes.com. It is for free if you are a subscriber. So make sure you go check that out over at the website. But we'll kick things off here. So what we're going to do, obviously, ton of stakes action at Saratoga, but we're going to focus on the Breeders' Cup races on running this weekend. And that is the other one, the Whitney. We'll go back a few races to race 8, the Fourstardave. It's a grade 1, 750K, 1 mile on the inner turf for 4-year-olds and up. And look who's back, Johannes at 5-2. But it's been a minute. This horse is a beast, but it's been a minute. What do you think?
Oh, this race is just fun. It's every race at Saratoga. It seems like it's fun this weekend, and this one including. Hell of a race here. Look, I think I'm one of the few that's picking this horse. I haven't heard a lot of people pick him. I'm going to go number 4, Think Big, in this race. I was just super, super impressed last time out in the Kelso. This horse had been running 5.5 furlong races and running like a monster. Like, he had looked very, very good. He did not run good in the Jaipur 2 races back, but he had won 3 in a row before that. Stretched him out to a mile in the Kelso last time out, and I will definitely tell you I was skeptical that he could stretch out, and I was like, why are you doing this? He's a really, really good sprinter. I thought it was the best race. I really, really thought it was his best race. I really loved his race in the Kelso. I'm betting him right back. I was so impressed with him last time out. So number 4, Think Big for me. Really, really excited. But I will say this is a very tough race. Think Big could run fantastic and run 4th here because there are a lot of really nice horses in here, but I was just super impressed with his last race.
Yeah, I mean, I would think I would think hard if Johannes wasn't in the race. I do think Big is very interesting. That last race to me was the same way. I was like, it was very eye opening. Like, oh damn, this guy can stretch out and still look kind of like he had, as a sprinting, and that was a big point. And then he likes Saratoga. I think there's a lot to like with him. I think the 8 deterministic is interesting. You and I were there to see him win that Manhattan, which was a cool scene there for Clement. And, like he beat Farbridge that day, who came back and looked really good, although, weaker race. I think a pace situation for deterministic is very interesting. So I like him quite a bit here. But listen, I just, if the 3 Johannes is anything close, I love the fact that Yakteen, off that kind of layoff, is chose to run him here. Like, there's plenty of easy spots that you could get a horse like him kind of getting going, and yet they've chosen this race, a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup, to run him here all the way across the country. I think it's just a really big sign that Rispoli, whether you like him or not, comes out with him, who's been his regular rider. This horse has done nothing but win pretty much for the last year or two. He lost in the Breeders' Cup, but it was a hell of a second to More Than Looks that day. He's just been awesome. I couldn't go against him. I think the pace will be perfect. I think the horse will set up perfect. Give me the 3 Johannes. I think he runs down deterministic late in this one.
I think his overall best race will win this one. I do agree with you. My concern is long layoff. And, coming out here, it's a tough ask. We haven't seen him since December of last year. It's now going to be August 2nd. I just a little worried about that part of it.
Well, that's fair. And again, I think this is such a different test for him. I mean, he ran at Churchill as a debut, but obviously different trainer. That always stayed out west. And just, I think for Yakteen to kind of bring him in this kind of race to Saratoga, it says a lot. Now, if he's got this distance is just his bread and butter, right? We know, that's the thing. Like, we know, Think Big had one big race at the distance. We think he can do it again. We know Johannes is an absolute superstar at a mile. Deterministic kind of feels like maybe a little longer is a little better for him, but the cutback might help him too. But there's one horse that just hits right between the eyes, and that's the 3 Johannes. So, give me the 3. I'm picking him to win here. And by the way, if do you 5-2? Do you think is there a world where that stays somewhere around that?
Honestly, yes, I think so. I think the layoff and a West Coast shipper on the turf running east, and the field is very good. There's a lot of different angles you can play. I think you're going to get it. I think it's a good pick. I just am a little, it's not even so much coming over to the east because the horse did run so well at the Breeders' Cup. It's just the layoff has me a little bit worried. It does. But look, he's a very, very nice horse.
Yeah, I agree. Bartle's you always wonder with the West Coast. Having said that, he's proven, I know he didn't win the Breeders' Cup, but he damn near won it. It's not, to me, if he ran the Breeders' Cup and it was pretty pathetic, but he kind of won the weaker, stakes races out west or whatever, then I would think maybe he's a little fake, but I think he's the real deal. And I don't necessarily am not terribly. It's not like the East has some absolute monster like Johannes. So for those reasons, I'm still okay playing him. All right, let's move to speaking of the West Coast. This race is kind of awesome, Halterman. The race 10, the Clement Hirsch at Del Mar, grade 1, of course, and it is a win and you're in for the distaff. By the way, I don't think I mentioned the Fourstardave is a win and you're in for the mile, the turf mile. This is for the Breeders' Cup Distaff, and we've we'll call it the Bob Baffert Stakes. But listen, I think there might be a horse in here that can beat the Bob Baffert horses here. Seismic Beauty is awesome, but man, I'll let you give me your analysis. I'll go to mine next.
Yeah, I hate that Seismic Beauty's the favorite. I was hoping she wouldn't be because of the horse that you probably are picking. But I did put Seismic Beauty on top. I think it's the distance is the key. I don't really know what's going on with Copy and why they're stretching the horse back out after how good she's looked going shorter, but they are. So it's weird. But anyway, I think at this distance, Seismic Beauty's the horse to beat. She's been super, super good here right now lately. And so I'm going to go right back to her. Number one, Seismic Beauty for me.
Yeah, I had Seismic Beauty for a while on top. Splendor came back and just really looked awesome the next time out. So like that race kind of held up. He's won by a total 15 in the last 2 races. I think it's interesting, although it's easy to sometimes when you have the same trainer, like the 5 Richie. Is that how you say?
Rishi,
yeah, it has the same exact running style. I mean, to a T, and then both of them have shown that they're best when they're going to the lead. I mean, that'll be interesting pace set situation. Obviously, one will go, one won't, but I would assume it'd be the one, given that it draws the rail, and I think is just a little bit faster. But hey, listen, give me the 7. I think this the price is finally right. Dennis, you're right. Way too short of a price last time out. Sweet Azteca had to beat her own track record last time out to beat her. Drew, I mean, that race just threw. I mean, remember how wide she was? Like pushed her out like 10 wide. Copian probably would have won that race had it gotten a little bit better trip. But it is interesting, kind of the stretch out here. But I think at this horse's best, just from a numbers perspective, can compete. And if the pace sets up, the horse is bred to go long. That's the thing. I mean, Copian beat like Ways and Means sprinting. Like that's insane, right? Because she's a really good horse. She's beaten horses that are in this race, but it's all been sprinting. The distance is a concern because you haven't seen it, but I do trust that there's a reason they're trying it here. So give me the 7 Copian. I also think Halterman. Now, call me crazy. The 6, I'm tad bit interested in at a big price. I don't know if you watched any of the replays of this one, but Sadler, Horonis Racing, they're really good. First time over here, first time trainer, really good trainer jockey situation as well. Like this is a horse that has won like at this distance and has ran very, very well going longer. So a little bit of interest at a big price on the 6. Did you take any looks at the 6?
I did because of the Sadler Ronis Racing thing, right? That does make a lot of sense to me. We've seen him do this before. So yeah, I think as a long shot, that definitely does make a lot of sense. I like that horse a little bit underneath. Hard race to draw into with Seismic Beauty and Copian, right? That's the only problem with the number 6 there. Sometimes you look at a race like this at Del Mar and it doesn't come up very tough. And this is a horse that would make a little bit more sense, but tough race to win, no doubt about it. And yeah, I mean, to the Copian thing, she definitely is bred to do it. So I get wanting to try it. I guess for me, it's like when she won the Derby City Distaff at 7 furlongs, that was an electric race, right? And she beat horses that have come back to win, and she beat champion type horses.
Yeah.
Then we see her at Los Al next, and it's like, what are you doing? And now we're stretching her back out to 2 turns where she's 0 for 2. It's just weird to me. But maybe she does it, maybe she does it. She definitely is the best horse from a talent perspective in this race.
Yeah, talk about runner just everywhere too, like just all across the country. But yeah, I mean, listen, I think you'll know pretty quick in this one, like if she's Copian or if she just kind of runs into a buzzsaw with Seismic Beauty, because I think Seismic Beauty is probably either going to run off the screen or you'll be like, she's getting a little weary legged here. Where's the 7 or whatever? So I do think this race, by the way, sometimes these races out Del Mar, like these kind of older fillies, like, they're not the strongest, or you're not like, I don't really know about the Breeders' Cup. There's some pretty good horses in here. And like for a division that, we have Torpedo Anna, But past that, like the older fillies, like you're just kind of like trying to still figure those out. Like there might be some quality as far as like, hey, this is a horse that actually could win the distaff or run very well. Because again, it is out Del Mar as well.
Yeah, and Torpedo Anna isn't as scary right now as she was last year at this time.
Yeah.
And that's not to say she's not going to win the distaff, or not to say that she's not going to kind of be scary by the time we get here, right? But yeah, at this moment, I think it's a very wide open division. And if for whatever reason Torpedo Anna kind of just struggles a little bit, I mean, these horses are just as good as, say, like a Randomized or a Raging Sea or somebody like that, or a Darth Vader, those types of horses, so we'll see.
All right, we're going to backtrack one day and go back to Saratoga on Friday now. A little bonus action here on Rapid Fire. This is race number 7, the National Museum of Racing Hall of Fame Stakes, Grade 2, 400K, 1 mile on the inner turf for 3-year-olds. And your boy Zulu Kingdom shows up here at 6-5. Got a field of 8. 9 is, with the main track only entry there, McAfee. But you've got Zulu Kingdom, the biggest threat, maybe Luther, who got a lot of action last time out as a first starter there over here. Clever again, our boy Kevin. Clever again, showing it now. He's running on the turf and going a mile. Thoughts to digest here, Alderman.
Yeah, look, I think it's Zulu Kingdom again in the spot. I think we're definitely seeing that. Chad Brown does not want to run this horse past a mile, right? Because it's another spot where it's a mile, and it's like, okay. So I look, but I'm not real impressed with a lot of these horses. I do think Luther is pretty darn good. I think that is the big threat to Zulu Kingdom. Past that, I just think Zulu Kingdom's a little bit better of a horse. Another race that's got a lot of pace, and I think he'll sit in a really good spot and try to mow him down like he has in the last couple of races. I will say I did not think Zulu Kingdom ran quite as well in the Manila last time out as he did in the American Turf or even the race in Tampa early in the season, but he still was able to win. And I kind of, if you remember, there were a couple spots, like 3 times this horse was supposed to run, and he kept getting rained off or canceled altogether. Maybe he just kind of needed that race from a fitness standpoint, and maybe now he's ready to run a little bit better. So I'm going to go number 7, Zulu Kingdom once again.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely certainly looks like it goes through him. Like it's kind of hard to get past Zulu Kingdom here. Like you said, there's just not a lot of threat. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'll let you say it.
It's like ice cold Pratt, guys. he went out to Del Mar and won on Nisos. He won on Brant. Sunday he comes back to Saratoga and wins a stakes race on La Mahina. Yeah, okay. He hasn't won Wednesday or Thursday of this week. You are right. If you're fading him Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you're going to lose. It's just that simple. He's going to win multiple races. He's not ice cold. 2 days does not mean he's terrible and he's ice cold. Anyway, go ahead.
I do think it'll be kind of interesting to see, test scores a horse that's running on Saturday in the which is it, Saratoga Derby, and he ran Luther. Got beat by this horse, but like you said, I'm with you. I kind of like Luther. He was kind of the wise guy. Luther was that day. Test score beat him that day. So I guess if you say hey, if Luther runs down, say Zulu here, and you're like, damn, that was pretty impressive. Maybe it pushes up test score a bit. Coming up the next day, puts a little more oomph in that race. But I'm with you. I think the pace will be a little interesting for Pratt to kind of decipher, given. There is a lot of other pace in the race, and I know Zulu Kingdom isn't necessarily a horse that's on the lead, but it's always pretty close. And so there seems to be several horses in here that'll want to go. And so kind of, Clever again being one that's going to be super interesting. What the hell they do with him? Horse that's never seen anything but the lead, but has been beaten by 11 and 30 lengths in his last 2 starts on the dirt. But
he does have turf pedigree,
He's got turf pedigree. He's American Pharaoh. He out of a Galileo mare. So there's a lot of turf pedigree there. He's cutting back to a mile after going longer the last 2. Mile on numbers perspective is his best performance to date, right? And so there's things that are interesting about him. I think he's going to go. But you also think, the 1 will go. Look at how he's done. And then you got to assume that the 8 is going to want to go. And so where does that kind of leave Zulu, And so it kind of makes it, listen, Pratt's my boy. So I trust he'll do the right thing. But I do think it might be a little interesting of how the race sets up for him.
You trust he'll do the right thing? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he's. I'm not throwing him out the window like some of our fans are.
Okay.
So
I don't know. If I see Flavien Prat on the horse, I'm certainly not sitting there thinking, "Ooh, I don't know about that. That's going to be weird."
Let's see. So. This is Friday. Saturday. Do you want to throw Sunday in? Let's do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Over under 7 races for Pratt.
I don't honestly. I don't look at jockeys a whole lot when I'm handicapping, so I don't really know who he's on. Let's see. Let me go through it real quick.
I'll let the chat give me. I'll do 6. I'll do 6.5. How about?
That's 3 a day. That's pretty good.
No, I'm saying Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So
7.
You could technically do 2 a day.
Okay.
2.5 a day, and hit it. So you got to assume he's on Sierra Leone and the Whitney. He's got some good. Over under should be 0.5. Bartle says over.
I think he could win 3 tomorrow.
I think Friday is like the preface of can he get, because I do think there's some tough mounts, even though he's on good horses on Saturday, just because the level of competition. But I think he'll win 2 at least on Saturday.
Well, Capital Partner, he has him in the second race. He'll be tough. Obliteration should be tough. They are tough races, like you said. I'm just trying, Lost and Found in the 5th should be tough.
Yeah, 6.5 is the number, Dennis. 6.5.
He rides a pretty nice maiden in the 6th. I think he'll go over 6 for sure.
Okay.
I think yeah, and then he had in Sunday. I don't know about Sunday. And yeah, it does also, it will depend on the turf, what's going on there. There's outside factors, but I think he goes over 6.5.
The point of the reason I say that is because 6.5, 7, whatever. It's a pretty solid weekend, especially at a track like Saratoga. So I think he'll be all right, and I wouldn't be too concerned about ice cold Pratt. So
I wouldn't shy away from a horse because he's on it. Let's put it that way.
Ooh, can you imagine handicapping a race and being like, well, Pratt's on him, so that makes it. I don't know. I don't know if I want to.
We'll have to get to a really old age, I think. Because all these guys get old, and then you do think that. So
yeah, there's just not a better jockey right now, in my opinion.
I'm kind of looking now. Now I'll tell you this: I'm looking at Sunday, just as you were talking. He don't have much on Sunday, so it better be Friday and Saturday. He's on a few, but there's some big odds that he's on. Some 10-1 shots, which you don't usually see that with Pratt aboard. So that kind of tells you he doesn't have much going on Sunday.
Well, I should probably look at who he's, the mounts he has for Friday through Sunday to actually give you a proper number. So 6 might be high. Just
no, I think he has enough the next 2 days where it isn't. The other thing is, when you get to Saratoga or you go, let's say Del Mar or Keeneland, I'm trying to think of shorter meets that are very prestigious, right? It's easy to get into a little bit of a lull where you're not winning very much for about a week or so. And, I remember, it's been, I don't know how long ago. It hadn't been that 2, 3, 4 years ago, let's say. Jose Ortiz couldn't win anything up here. And everybody's like, he's awful. He's lost it, all this stuff. It's a lot of, 90% of it is the horse, right? It really is. You got to have the right mounts. And, you know, I do think today, I don't quite remember. I think Pratt had a couple of turf horses that I kind of like that they just didn't get to run on it. And so that does hurt jockeys as well when they're lined up. Because like Pratt's lined up with like Chad Brown. Well, if they're off the turf, that hurts. You know, that'll hurt him. Where Irad is, he's kind of hooked up with, it seems like, everybody up there. So, and Irad's riding great, but you know, I would not downgrade the Ortiz brothers or Pratt if they lose a few in a row.
If you had a 3-year-old right now, well, if you had a 2-year-old right now, and Pratt, you believe the Kentucky Derby was your goal with him, like you could pick any jockey to be your jockey. Who would it be? Pratt?
Oh, Calvin Burrell for sure. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it'd be what's his name? Your jockey.
Oh, Dylan Davis. Yeah,
hey,
I got a Dylan Davis story for you. So Samich was telling me about this because Samich knows the Dylan Davis story. He goes, "You were right about him." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, Samich was up at Saratoga last week. He said, "I took my daughter to like the jockey lane where they walked off, like where they walk out at Saratoga, you know, which is a very cool thing. They've got to walk through the crowd." And he said, without any doubt, Dylan Davis was the coolest of them. He said they were all nice. Don't get me wrong, but he said Dylan Davis was so cool to everybody, and he's giving away jockeys and stuff like that. So, or a jockey, goggles. I mean, so yeah. So Dylan Davis is the man. Yeah. Man. No, I would choose Pratt or Irad. I mean, they just are better than everybody right now. I'm sorry, it's just that simple.
We got Dylan Davis. Take him back, make one run. That's the guy.
That's my guy. He did piss me off on one today. I can't remember who he was on now, but
yeah.
Oh well, we got over it.
He can't win them all for you, so
no, he can't.
All right, guys, that's a look at rapid fire. We're both taking Zulu Kingdom on Friday in the Hall of Fame.
True statement by Rob. Kendrick Carmouche is the man after those races. I love that guy.
Man, yeah. Phil, funny, well, not really funny, but cool story was when we were at Halter and I were at Saratoga this past Saratoga or past year for the Belmont, and then obviously you guys remember like they took some of those, was it Manhattan and was it the Jaipur maybe, they took off the turf and they moved it to Sunday, and so we were obviously still at the track, and that's the day that Carmouche won the Manhattan. The last day or last race of the day, and it was Miguel's first graded stakes win, and it was. Yeah. I mean, you would have thought. Don't get me wrong, big race, big deal, but like Carmouche was, you would have thought he was, Brad Pitt at the Oscars. I mean, this guy was literally shaking hands, kissing babies, doing everything, taking pictures, yelling. I mean, just. We after he left the winner's circle, we followed him all the way out, like back to the jockey room. Yeah. And I mean, the crowd had thinned out definitely, but like he was just, he couldn't even, people were grown adults, even Halter and I we're like, watch this. So he's walking by. We're like, good job, Kendrick. We gave him fist pumps and everything, it's just, he is like, when he is hyped up, there's no better jockey.
I definitely agree. And I remember he was having all kinds of fun in the winner's circle. And I think we had the idea of let's just follow him and just watch how much fun. I bet he took, no exaggeration, I bet he took 100 selfies.
Yeah.
Before he got back to the where the jockey barn is. So, or not barn, what I don't know what that you would call that. I might be a barn. But anyway, yeah, it was funny. We were watching him, and like I said, he is a cool guy for sure. Really cool guy. Good for racing. Look, honestly though, guys, like up there, at least everybody is super nice. All the jockeys are. Some are, you could tell, a little more standoff, but most of them are very, very interactive. So,
and I think it's just like a New York thing. I mean, not to say we're not in New York, but we aren't New Yorkers. But man, they just love that guy. The crowd. I mean, you literally, like you said it, man of the people. He really is, because that place lights up. You just these grown adults men, that are just going insane for Kendrick. They're so pumped that Kendrick won. So he certainly is. I think he's got New York breds locked down as far as being the man of the people for sure. But Yeah, we're gonna be there, by the way. So I can't wait for the Travers. So if you guys are gonna be there, make sure hopefully we get the race that we're hoping to get. But man, just to see as many times, feels like one of those years, honestly, dude, where it's like if I can see Sovereignty as many times as I can in person, because I think it's going to be one of those years where we're like, hey, you remember that year we got to see Sovereignty win the Belmont, we got to go see him win the Travers, got to see him win the Classic, whatever, because he might be one of those, So. All right, guys, that's all the time we have. Check us out at racingdudes.com for all our free picks and premium selections on our products page. Click that Racing Dudes premium button on the menu. It says Get Premium. You can see it in a big red button. And if you haven't, go check out the website. Let us know what you think. It's got kind of a new look. If you aren't familiar, or maybe you only watch us on YouTube, but go to the website. It's got everything you need. The picks, our featured picks, featured tracks right there on the homepage, or all the picks. It's got post times to help you guys out as well. It's got really anything you need to really focus on the picks. That's it, And so everything else, if you do want the podcast, you want articles, all that stuff, it's all on there. But it's like we kind of got to the point where, like, listen, we want it to be all these different things, but in reality, you want picks, so we're gonna give you the picks.
It's probably the biggest change we've made without really changing much, in a long time. But yeah, I mean, like, if you went to the old site, I think the old site, like from like a visual standpoint, it may have looked better, honestly. But most of that stuff on the homepage, nobody really came to the site for. And so it's like when you look at the analytics, it's like, yeah, we're wasting a lot of space right here on stuff that people don't click on. Or now, that's what people want, the picks. So just make it easy for them. So yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, you can see here, this is the homepage. This is, if you remember, the homepage is totally different now. So that's the power play. One of my favorite features, has a kind of a, a way to show people, hey, this, we actually are legit. Kind of where we've been, what the channels we're on, we feature picks on. Betting calculator, if you use that a lot, I use it all the time. Got the podcast right. So like, if you want to click like the articles that you used to see, those are still here under Racing News. A lot of times we would find, especially like on a Saturday evening, Sunday, like, hey, like we got all the articles prepping for the weekend, but then it's like there's a little bit of lull there, but before we reload for the next. And so this puts them down there, puts them available, but also makes it where you don't have to have like a bunch of old content on the header there. And then maybe my favorite feature of the whole thing is the way we've added the colored silks here. I think that's a cool little touch. And so that's included. This is a free picks page for Del Mar. It's got an easy way to go, okay, now I've gotten Del Mar. Now I want to go to, Saratoga. And now you got Saratoga. You can flash back and forth here Saturday or, Friday's picks as well. So it's got a little bit of everything. If you want more, this is just straight up. You can go right into the premium section. So it's a really handy way to have everything, because what we were finding is people were going, like, they were either finding this straight through Google, and then like they would go to like Saratoga picks, and we were like the first one, so they'd go to this page here, and they never even saw the homepage, and or they saw like we just wanted everything, like, hey, if you just come to whether it be the free picks, index page, which is what we call it, or one of these particular track pages, it's a little bit more user friendly for you to find what you need, as well as making the navigation of the site easier for everybody. So hopefully everybody likes it. Again, it's like Halterman said, it's funny. We've put a lot more money and a lot more effort into changes on the site, but this one feels like the most noticeable. So, or impactful, I guess.
The most needed.
Oh, hey, Dennis, I'm a big time Forbes writer. All right. Big time. Go check me out. I just posted an article. For real, I did. I write for Forbes. I don't know if people know that. So they contacted us actually and wanted us to write in their sports money section or something. I think it's, and so I don't know. I post on there. So, hey, listen, I mean, they pay me like $50 an article. So I'm kind of a big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
And I have to split it with Halter. So it's great. A great deal for us. But no, yeah, anything that looks fancy on there. Plus, it helps with SEO. So that was the biggest reason why we did it. Anytime I always make sure to link to Racing Dudes on every one of them. Because there's like almost no oversight. It's kind of crazy. I just can post whatever I want.
And I don't mean this to be like a slight towards any of us, but Forbes has to be going downhill maybe a little bit.
I know, right?
Like, does it make sense?
Hey, like I said, it wasn't like, because like if you're like, hey, let's get on some sites, let's, SEO, let's do like Forbes would not be real high on my list just because I wouldn't assume that would even be something. But no, it's I'm not here. Hang on, let me find.
It's even like for me, it's like they didn't really. It was just like, fill out this form.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like there wasn't a whole lot of let's back check this guy.
What's funny is if you when you like, I bet you if you type like Whitney Stakes picks, I bet you like it's one of the top news articles on there, which is obviously great for us because it has links to Racing Dudes as well. So that's kind of why I did it. But
let's see.
There we go. Here, I'll put the link out here.
We are second. Yeah, I don't see your Forbes one yet. Maybe too soon.
I just posted it right before the site or right before we went live, so it might not be posted yet, or it might not be like picking up on SEO yet. But yeah, I just posted the link.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, listen, this is what we do, bringing new folks to the game. That's right. And Jared Welch from RacingDudes.com gave out Fierceness as the Whitney winner. There you go. Big deal. Let's see. What else is new? You go to Racing Dudes on Twitter, @race_dudes, Instagram, Facebook. We're all on there. All the content. Go to check out Blinkers Off. On Apple Podcasts, they're always available about an hour or so after this gets finished airing. You can find those on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, all the places you listen to podcasts. We're on there. Make sure to go to YouTube if you haven't already. Hit that like notification and subscribe. That helps us. You get more videos and you can see more of our content. And it's always fun, I think, to interact with us throughout the live shows of Blinkers Off. Due to Bet was on yesterday, Magic Mike show. I think we'll be on tomorrow because I saw the preview for it on the back end of StreamYard. So I think they'll be live tomorrow.
Yes. So it will be Samich, and let me see if I get this guy's name right. And John Gasper will be special guest. John Gasper. I think he's been on before. I apologize to John. I don't remember. But anyway, so there you go.
Man, Manlo, that's what's sad is I have like 4 more months to be 40 under 40 lists. So is there a 50 under 50? I could be on that. I'll be 40 in a couple months. I'll join you, Halterman. So
yeah, it's a great club.
Yeah. I think I should nominate myself for the 40 under 40. If you guys wouldn't mind, that'd be great. Might help with my personal life as well. What?
I'm not going. We're not going down that road. Come on.
Yeah. Come on. No, come on.
Well,
all right. Any lasting thoughts for the people, Halterman?
Can we go down that road?
I don't care. I mean,
do you have a date set up for the Travers? I guess is what I'm asking.
No.
Okay.
Don't.
I think you do.
I haven't heard from her.
I think you do.
I don't know for sure.
Little Birdie told me you do. So.
Was that Little Birdie her? No. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe I have A days. Maybe not that. Maybe it's a different day.
Well, I don't know. We'll see.
Kevin, you're definitely. I mean, are you talking about Kevin? Is he my date? Because I cannot wait to see Kevin.
No, he's not it. He'll probably have a wedding or something.
Yeah. He'll probably be there on Sunday only.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll be there. So.
That's right. Should we add OnlyFans to the list, the scrolling list? I do feature on that too sometimes.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Because I never know at the end of this show how much to get into, but we'll stop it there. So.
Okay, sounds good.
Actually, yeah, I don't have a lot of personal life to talk about. That's what's. It's just kind of taking a break from that, other than the Travers week or the Belmont weekend. That's a different story. Different story for a different day.
Yeah.
But yeah, good times. All right, guys. Oh man, we needed like a separate. We needed like, you know how like the shows that have like the after, you know, subscribers only after hour or like the after show. That's what we need. Then we could really get into some good stuff. But
it would be more popular than this dumb stuff that we do. That's for sure.
Hell yeah. And it'd be more fun.
It'd be a lot more fun.
Maybe for you guys anyway. It's not me.
Yeah, no.
All right, guys. Until next time, I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck this weekend and good luck in the Whitney.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Blinkers Off. Join our horse racing community at racingdudes.com and follow us on Twitter at racing_dudes. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.